good afternoon and welcome to the very centre of Helsinki, where we are all set for the last race of the first round of the 2019 World Cup. I'm Catherine Bett and Jonas Mertz is alongside me to bring you all of the live action from this sprint relay, which is taking place. So we're in the Senate Square at the moment. We're in the heart of the oldest part of the Finnish capital. We've got 44 teams on the start list today with 19 nations. 3 of those nations have entered 4 teams to this relay, so we may well see nation pitted against nation here today in this sprint relay. And Jonas, who do you think are the ones to watch for today's race?
For sure we have the Swedish team, as usual, and the world champions. They will be very strong. It's almost the same team as they had at the World Championships, but they had to change Jonas Leandersson to Gustav Bergman because he's not in the national team anymore, focusing on athletics nowadays, Jonas Leandersson. And second, I think they will fight against Switzerland. It will be a tough fight. I expect it to be a fight for the first place, and I expect it to be a different fight for the third place between many teams. Then there we can have Norway, Czech Republic, Russia, Austria, Finland, or even the second teams from Switzerland or Sweden.
Yeah, I think we'll see some of the second teams actually being really, really competitive. Let's have a look at the course.
Yeah, it's quite an interesting course because we have a forking system as we don't see it that often. We will see that a little bit later on the course. This forking here, I think it's a good one because I think the course setter tries to get some of the runners to follow the wrong runner to the wrong forking, not all the way to the control, but on the wrong route choice at least. And here we have some pictures out from competition area to this university area.
Yes, this is the second control here, and that's, yeah, as you can see on the map.
And now we have this interesting forking system. Some of them go first. Yeah, you see that they run in other directions in this, and this is quite special, I think. We haven't seen that often. I hope it doesn't get too messy there when they run against each other in different directions, but I think it can be an interesting thing. Maybe a bit difficult to follow and see who's in the lead, but I mean, it's only for 1 or 2 controls, so no problem.
Yeah, and you can see they've created some artificial barriers as well, which means that they're going to be running like around and having to make those decisions, especially like control number 5.
Yeah, there are a few artificial barriers, but not very many, so it's okay. Still in a way that you can see them, and it's not a maze. It's still possible to do orienteering here.
Then again, we have some forkings for these few controls as well, 6 and 7, and then they will go together back towards the finish and the arena anyway.
Here they will have a map change. The map is printed on the same map, so they have 2 parts on the map. They run up the stairs there. It's very crowded, but they built a passage for the runners. And then we have this second loop. And here's actually the difference between the men's and the women's course. It's here on this second loop. So this one is the women's course. You don't have to run around that much there. You could run a little bit more straight. This last part is unforked. There is a route choice, actually, control 10 to 11. Could run more to the north around this artificial fence there. And then here in the very end, the characteristics of the course changes a little bit suddenly, and for the first time you have to be very precise or careful when orienteering, and many of these short turns. And also you can think here, I mean, we have this touch-free punching system, so depending on which direction you come from, you want to continue running so you don't have to stop, or I don't think it matters that much if you take left or right in many of these decisions at the end, but you don't want to stop and turn.
Yeah, and you don't want to hesitate as well either. That was the start list. That they are in the number of the position that they were in at the World Championships in Latvia in the summer. So Sweden are the defending champions, Switzerland starting with number 2. Although we, of course, need to be looking out for the second, third and even fourth. Swiss and Swedish teams are going to be very, very competitive.
And for the first time in many years, we see the Swiss team with the strongest possible team at a World Cup race, because in earlier years when you had the World Championships and the forest disciplines and the sprint disciplines at the same time, they try to have the same team at the World Cups as they would have at the World Championships. And since Daniel Hopman, for example, he knew that he wouldn't run, so they never had him in the first team. But today we have both Matthias Kiburz and Daniel Hopman in the first team for Switzerland.
Well, Simona Abersold is leading them out for the Swiss team. Jo Shepard is in there as well. Galina Vinogradova up amongst the first ones, and Tove Alexandersson as well, running first leg for the Swedish team. So let's have a look at the runners here. Just missing in the right of picture, Simona Abersold, the Swiss youngster who had some great positions already in this World Cup round. And now we can see they're going to split up as they make their way to the first control, which is forked.
And you see here, if you compare a World Cup competition with the World Championships, there are so many teams, so it's kind of a different thing. Much more teams, because you can have 2 or 3 teams or even 4 for one nation.
Yeah, you can see the Norwegian team, Silje Krøll-Jaren, is on the first leg for their first team, up amongst the front of this group, who have got... Well, we don't actually know that they're all going to the same forking. They could well just be going to the different forkings. That group have all gone
but
along
actually,
together.
everyone who's running this route should go to the same forking, otherwise you will lose some time.
Yes, yeah. So if they end up making the switch, as you see, I think one of the Swiss runners doing there, then that means they were running, I think, the wrong route choice on that one.
As I experienced it when we were out there, it was not very, very technical. There were quite a few route choices. There was no very big differences. It didn't matter very much. It's just to get into a good rhythm. Don't follow to the wrong control or don't follow to the wrong route. But otherwise, in the very end, it's a little bit tricky, but I don't expect them to do mistakes here. It's more about getting into the races, do your routines, and as I said, don't follow the others on the wrong route choices.
So yeah, we can see there Tove Alexandersson of Sweden is leading out this group of runners. They're all going to come back together at this second control. This is a common control. Silje Krøll-Jaren from Norway also up there. The two of them are stretching out the lead.
Yeah, there you can see one of these artificial fences. And there was another route, so you could avoid the artificial fence. We saw Lina Strand doing that for Sweden.
Sofia Hainen's also up there for the Finnish team in the third place, and then just now almost too many to name here as they all come through this big pack together. But I think quite notable that Sweden and Norway have already really started to attack this course and got a few meters over the rest of the field, as we nearly have all 44 teams through this point in a matter of 30 seconds. I think one of the teams isn't running, so that's it. Let's have a look now at some of the forkings at controls 3 and 4. This is where they're running in the different directions, and you can see that Sweden and Norway, the two runners leading the field, had the different forkings here, and the Norwegian still has to go to C4. But then they will make a little bit of a route choice decision to go to control number 5.
There's something. Okay,
I think it's just the tracking.
The tracking for Norway.
Yep. The tracking doesn't work quite as well in amongst the buildings, and yeah, we can see that with Alexandersson going through that point. But this should be the leading position. Tove Alexandersson, who's already taken 2 gold medals at this first World Cup round. in the middle and the chasing start, but so she's got that head start at control 5.
And it's quite a big lead already, and we've seen that's more or less just physically. So we have Sweden
3.
in front of Sweden.
Sweden 3, Alva Olsen there on coming to that control 2nd. Silja Kriljaren for Norway in 3rd. Some of these Swiss runners just a little bit further back, as of course it's the main 2 nations we're looking out for, Sweden and Switzerland.
Of course, we have had some different forkings here in the beginning, so it's hard to say if it's just the forkings or if it's actually the higher speed of Tove Alexandersson.
Yes, of course. It's only after all of 4 of the runners have completed their courses that they will have done the same controls in the same order, and we will truly get a picture of how far they've run and who is the winner, of course.
But we have seen there Sabina Hauswirth, and that's a really big gap there already. That's too much. She must have done a mistake. Now we're following Tove Alexandersson.
Yep, she should be on the way. Controls 6 and 7 now. These 2 are also forked controls. And now she will run down this hill. There's a little bit of a park behind the House of the Estates. We're running around the very, very central, the oldest part of Helsinki today. With some really lovely old buildings.
I'm very surprised that no one is able to follow Tove Alexandersson here in the beginning. I mean, usually the big differences physically between the runners, they occur about 10 minutes into the race, and then it's the last 5 minutes that makes the big difference. But I expected some of the runners to be able to follow Tove at least in the very beginning of the race.
Yeah, me too. She's evidently started with such a high speed that none of the others can even match that, or they've paced it differently. So controls 6 and 7 done, and there's a common control over at number 8, which is going to be at the front of one of the Parliament buildings in Helsinki. And then they will have a map change and run up different parts. So waiting for the leader, there she is, coming out to the steps here. Tourists diving everywhere to avoid her. Not quite as many tourists as they were in Latvia, and you can see you can hear the applause from the crowd as they will cheer Tove Alexandersson. But look at the lead that she has over the rest of the field. The seconds are ticking up. It's going to be 10 seconds.
This is Lina Strand and Alva Olsson, so we have 3 Swedish teams in the lead here. We know that last time it was 16 seconds, the difference between the Swedish first team and the Swiss first team, but we haven't seen. There she is, so she lost 8 more seconds.
Yeah, Simona Abersold now 24 seconds down, and the spectators are standing to cheer the athletes up these steps. They're actually, I think they are as steep as they look. They really are very steep, and you go through this like very small funnel between all of the spectators. Some of them, of course, have been watching orienteering a long time. Some of them, I think, just people who've been here in Helsinki and come to cheer on this really great event. As more of the runners now go through this control before the arena passage, they will then head up the stairs and begin the next part of their orienteering course. The map, they will go from one section of the map on their piece of paper to another section of the map on the same piece of paper, and then there's less than halfway still to go. This is the climb up these steps, and it's so fantastic to see so many people out here supporting the runners. It's a really, really great arena here. And now we can see them coming down the other side and across the steps. This is, I think, the House of the Estates, and Lina Strand has caught up some time there on Tove Alexandersson. Only 3 seconds behind. It was 11 seconds just before the arena passage. So the 2 of them the two Swedish runners very, very close together. And from this point, there isn't any forking on the course. It's all the same loop. So these runners will all be going together. There's Norway, dropped a few places.
Of course, the runners, they don't know that there's no forking coming, so it's not just following for them.
But I think third place was 22 seconds down on Alexanderson. So the two leading Swedish teams in a very good place at the beginning of this leg.
Still 24 seconds, the gap between Sweden and Switzerland.
And in third place at this point was Finland 2 with Sofia Hayanen on that first place. Here we are back again with the two leaders as they go now towards the part with lots of different alleyways. The narrow cut-throughs are going to take this control on the right here and then, yeah, probably change direction, although I don't think both of them have gone change direction. Lina Strand has gone away from camera.
Yeah, that's one of the things I mentioned before. You can continue there, so you don't have to stop. I mean, with this touch-free system, if you can go on the same direction, you can actually win 1 or 2 seconds by doing that, and of course you can save some energy. So even if the route itself might be 1 or 2 seconds slower, you can still win a little bit by doing that. So let's see.
Yeah, there you can see Sweden 1 and Sweden 2 taking the different routes to 13. It's going to be quite tight, but you can also get a little chance to see the gap back to Finland 2 and Sweden 3. Who are in third and fourth place.
That was actually my feeling as well when we tested it, that the route to the north is some seconds faster, but we didn't get the GPS really there, so it's really hard to say.
Okay, so the runners on second leg are all lining up. They've been run this way from the quarantine and been warming up in the arena, but they're waiting in a place where they might have some small look at the pictures, but not really any true indication. Okay, here's Alexanderson. And running through everybody's conversations into the arena, and the crowd watching from the steps in the Senate Square are cheering her on. Have we seen second place yet?
Where is Lina Strand? We know that there was no forking at all on this last part, so she must have done a small mistake or a bad route choice.
Yeah, I'm looking, there she is. She's just coming out from the buildings now. So she's lost a lot of time in that last section. She was only 3 seconds behind. That's surprising as a whole group of other runners go down that way as well. But here is the leading athlete, Tove Alexanderson. They are the defending world champions, the Swedes. She will hand over to Emil Svensk on the line, who's going to set out into a lead with a good leading time, although we can see a whole host more of the athletes now into the run-in. So Sweden 1 handing over in first place. Will be Sweden 2 next to hand over, with Lina Strand handing over to Max Petter Bejmer.
It's 23 seconds.
He's handing over now.
And
there we go, that is Lina Strand. She's lost 20 seconds in that last part.
Here we have Simone Abersol as well for Switzerland in 4th position. I think this will be the big fight here.
Sweden 3, Alva Olsen handing over to Albin Riederfeldt. Switzerland, Simone Abersol handing over to Matthias Kibert. And we've also got a big group of athletes following them, including the Norwegians, including the Danes as well. But Sweden 1, 2 and 3 at the moment. Switzerland are in 4th. The Russian team with Galina Vinogradova, great sprint orienteer, in 5th place. Finland 2 are the top Finnish team in 6th. So Finnish two team with the top home nation team. Sofia Heinen handing over to Morten Bostrom. And now another group of runners about a minute and a half back in that group.
And I have to say, the gap, those 40 seconds, if we take Sweden the first team and Switzerland the first team, it's a really big gap. Well, I don't know, but it seems that it's very hard to close this gap. Usually the two legs from the man, they are not... I mean, if we compare the Swedish runners with the Swiss runners on those legs, it might differ 10 seconds in one or the other direction, and 40 seconds. That's a lot.
That's a lot. That is a lot. Yeah, as you said, the women tend to be more spread out. There's more difference in their times. The men tend to be a lot closer together. But here we are behind the second Swedish team, Max Petter Bämer. So he started his race in second position, 23 seconds behind teammate Emil Svensk. This is Max Petter Bämer. This is what we think second place, heading out from control number 2. But here is Switzerland and Russia as well, and the Finns and the Czech team with Milos Nikdim, I think, on the second leg for the Czech Republic. The Finnish first team is in 11th place.
We see also that the Swiss team now is only 31 seconds behind. It was 40 at the start.
So caught up those 9 seconds already, and Matthias Kiberts is in a good position to catch up some time.
Also good start for Artem Popov from Russia, 34 seconds behind. Of course, we had a forking there in the beginning, so it's hard to say if it's just physically. I think that it was mostly the forking. Here we have Emil Svensk.
This is control number 5 we're at now, after just over a kilometre of running on the second leg. And the gap. Oh.
The gap was 24 seconds before. Let's see, here we have Max Petter Bämer, and also we have the Swiss team,
Yes,
both of them, and the Russian team.
Matthias Kiberts, Florian Hovald, Artem Popov, Milos Nikdim in there as well. So too, we've got the second Finnish team, Morten Bostrom.
Now the gap
Got
is,
the Norwegians, Kasper Fosse there, the junior Danish team there as well. And the third Swedish team who've already lost a lot of seconds from their third place. They were at the changeover.
No oli aika hieno. Siis miettii nyt kun konttaa noita portaita, niin siinä vaiheessa kun teki mieli alkaa töpöttää vaan jokaiselle portaalle, niin sitten kun siinä joku karjuu, niin oli pakko yrittää vähän ponnistaa. Et siihen se tuli kyllä oikeaan aikaan. Yleisö on oikeasti kerätty oikeaan paikkaan. Et se on niinku siinä ennen varvausta, kun alkaa niinku se oikeasti se alkaa olla aika
Okay, back then towards steps and different parts of the course. And here we are running behind Emil Svensk. He is going round to the 7th control, or 6th and 7th controls. And here we can see some of the trackings, the live tracking with this first Swedish team there, and they're going to split up. You can see this is how the forkings work out, whether they have E or F. This group all going, looks like they're going the same direction.
Through the building there?
Well, yes. But certainly Max Petter Bämer, I think, well, he's been definitely, we saw on the pictures, being caught up by that big group, including a couple of the Swiss teams and the Russian team and the Finland too as well. But here's our leaders. Sweden there, leading this relay, and they will punch this control here. He'll punch this control, go down the steps, and then up the steps that have made this into a really, really great arena. Lots of spectators watching, and we'll move on to the second part of the course. And then here it gets a little bit different compared to the women's course.
Yeah, they have a short loop in the very beginning of the second part of the course, and here we have Matthias Kiburtz. The gap before between Sweden and Switzerland was 34 seconds.
Still 34. But it looks like he's tried to make a bit of a gap on the rest of that group that he was running with anyway. That's a good leading group, well, chasing group there of 8 teams going through. So now they will take the stairs. Matthias Kiburtz leading the way. Really being chased up those stairs by Florian Hovald. And a race on there between the Czech Republic and Norway.
Milos Nikodym and Kasper Fosser.
And we have the next chasing group just entering the arena as well.
Here we see this little extra loop for the men, and the same here. We have 2 different directions. The runners have to take the control. Some have C9 and then C10, or D9 and D10. And of course, depending on which controls you have to take another route to the 11th control.
So this was the gap. So we've got a group of 8 athletes led by Matthias Kiburtz, who are chasing Sweden at the moment. Then another gap down to the next group, which has got a couple of Finnish teams in there as well. Okay, let's look out for the leading team. Here they are.
They're on the way to control 12.
Very confident flow going through that control, as you would expect from the leading team. I hope this gives you an indication of just how fast it is out there. When we came back from pre-running, I was thinking that it just felt very, very quick. It's not that technical, although of course they're going at such a high speed that it's always harder than it looks. But Switzerland caught up 4 seconds here and lost a bit of a gap on the rest. Switzerland 4 are also there. 3 nations have 4 teams in this relay.
I mean, you mentioned before that you don't think it's too technical. I agree on that. You have this long legs where you have a lot of time to read and to prepare the next leg. It's in the very end when it's a bit of lack of time you have to read the map, but otherwise this shouldn't be a bigger problem. As I said before, on the first leg, it's after like 10 minutes. The differences in the physical skills occur, so that might be why we see a small gap between Switzerland 1 and the other teams there. But of course, it can also be just forking there on this loop.
Absolutely.
Morten Boström for Finland, the world champion in sprint. Back when the World Championships were in Finland here, home ground.
And this is the live tracking. It's a 10-second tail here on these GPS dots. And Emil Svensk, we think that one's a little bit slower, but only a couple of seconds in it.
It was really hard to say. We didn't see the tracking really on the last leg. We just know that Lina Strand lost some time somewhere, but I don't think she lost all the time on this leg.
No, I think we're particularly not seeing the tracking of these final legs because the athletes are waiting, and I think they have a small view potentially of the big screen. Want to make sure that they don't get to see any of the map until they get the handover, until their race actually begins. But Gustav Bergman here is warming up, making sure he's keeping moving, and he will be waiting for Emil Svensk, who is currently leading. We'll see him approach out of this road here and into the arena for the last time.
Interesting to see Gustav Bergman in the Swedish sprint relay team. As I mentioned before, we haven't seen, I mean, we had Jonas Andersson and Emil Svensk as the given parts in this Swedish team, but now, after Lea Andersson retired, we have someone new, Gustav Bergman, and it's not, I mean, the other Svensk and Lea Andersson work or are kind of sprint specialists. Bergman is more known for his skills in the forest, but he has proven very good shape the last days, so I think he will do very well here, and of course he has done great sprint races before as well.
Yeah, his last sprint relay outing on the international circuit was in the World Championships 2016, where the Swedes got a bronze medal in that competition. But Emil Svensk hands over to Gustav Bergman. They are still in first position after being led out in a great time from Tove Alexandersson. So Gustav Bergman here already is going to take that sharp left. Here we have second and third place.
And my feeling is that it was a good finish for Matthias Kiburtz. Let's see the time, 25 seconds, so 5 seconds less than at the last TV control.
Switzerland 4 there, 31 seconds behind. Norway's up there as well. Sweden 2, Finland 2, 40 seconds down.
Very good race by Tobia Pezzatti for Switzerland 4. Just lost some seconds compared to Matthias Kiburtz in his first ever World Cup sprint relay.
So Matthias Kiburtz has caught up 15 seconds compared to Emil Svensk, now only 25 seconds behind. A couple of the race between two of the Finnish teams now, Finland and Finland 4, with Aleksi Niemi running for what is on paper the top Finnish team.
We will send out Akseli Ruohola.
But they're back now going towards some of the university buildings here in the very center of Helsinki. And Gustav Bergman is still in the lead.
Here we have Daniel Hoopman in the picture on the route to the second control. This is Pascal Buchs for the Swiss fourth team.
So this is control number 2. Gustav Bergman just skipping over plant pot, checking he's got the punch there with the touch-free punching, and didn't even need to have a think about which direction he was going to take next.
Here we have Hoopman. We know it. 25 seconds was the gap before. Now it's 23. Still have a fourth Swiss team there, Pascal Buchs, and also Gaute Hallandstaver for Norway. Martin Rekborn for Sweden, second team.
Severiki Malainen for Finland 2, 44 seconds behind. Wojtek Kral is running on the third leg for the Czech Republic. Still up there. We're going to have a battle on for the third nation spot, I think. And this is the camera position from control number 5. As we will see the next, the leaders of this race approaching this point very shortly, and we can see some of those further down the rankings going on their way to control number 2. But here's our leader in the picture now, in the blue colours of Sweden, looking very carefully to make sure he's made the right route choice decision to the next control. And here is the second place team. Let's have a look at the gap. It was 23 seconds.
Interesting here. You could get a glimpse at Bergman running away from the control. Now it's only 16 seconds, so 7 seconds less than at the last TV control. Skalbuchs losing some time now. He was 2 seconds behind the last TV control. Still the same gap for Norway up to Sweden, first team.
And Norway, the third nation at the moment. Czech Republic are the fourth nation. It's only the top team from each nation that counts in the World Cup points that they receive. Martin Hubman for the second Swiss team.
Here we see living legend Andrei Kramov for Russia. We're back with Gustav Bergman.
And this is this park behind the house, the estates, where they've got the forks controls 6 and 7. So it's only after, of course, after all the runners have done their courses that they will have run the same distance to the same controls. So some of the advantages we see now, or disadvantages, might be due to the forking. We think they are quite equal, though. And then very soon we will see the leaders into this arena, where a fantastic crowd is sitting out in the sunshine. Lots of sunglasses, and they are watching a great performance here. The Swedish team, led out by Tove Alexandersson, are still in the lead.
So Bergman on his way to the arena passage.
And here he is. Over halfway through this third leg now, and Sweden still have the lead. Gustav Bergman with 2 wins already in this World Cup under his belt, looking very good. Now let's have a look. What is the gap back to the Swiss team? It was 16 seconds at the last points. It's now 17. So maintaining more or less that distance compared to our last split time that we got. And then there is a big gap to the rest.
It was Switzerland 4 before, but now we have Martin Röckborn for the second Swedish team. The gap there was 38 seconds before. It still is. Czech Republic is able to catch 2 seconds.
And Czech Republic have caught up a couple of places there, overtaking the Norwegians. They're now the third fastest nation. So that's very significant. Wojtek Kral overtaking Gauta Hallensteva to take the third nation spot at the moment. Bronze medal position for them. But climbing the stairs now. Gauta Hallensteva in the fourth nation spot at that point. But this group still reasonably close together as they head to this final loop that doesn't have any fork. It does have a little bit of forking here, and then the last part is all together, common controls.
So here we see there's quite a forking.
Miten se tuntuu, ettei tällaista tunnelmaa ole sitten vuokatin kyllä koettu suunnistuksessa? Silloin pääsit juhlimaan maailmanmestaruutta. Miltäs nyt 6 vuotta myöhemmin tuo sprinttirata tuntui?
No kyllähän tuo yleisön tuki on mieletön, että kun juoksee näin hienon yleisön edessä, niin saa pikkasen ruuvattua vielä sitä vauhtiruuvia paremmaksi.
My feeling is that you should go around to the right if
vuoden
you are
parasta
at the
suoritusta
point
tein
Hutman
tuossa teknisesti ja jalkakin liikkuu ihan kohtuullisesti.
Ehditkö huikkamaan mitään Severille?
En muista, mitä mä siinä mahdoin sanoa. Luultavasti tsemppasin jollain tavoin. Ehkä se naamastakin näkyy, että kaikki on annettu ja
yes,
I
kaikki
peli sulle.
Kiitos.
The best option there.
But do you think his forking was slower there anyway?
It could be like 2 or 3 seconds, but I think he didn't choose the best option after that. But let's see. Can just be a feeling as well. I mean, it's just based on a feeling. But when we tested it, we got the feeling that it should take the other route there. So we lost 5 seconds on that.
Well, Daniel Hubman was 25 seconds behind behind Sweden when he started his course. Now 22 seconds. This is the 3rd place.
And I think, I mean, he really has to try to get Switzerland at least in that close that they can see the Swedish team, so that they can build up some pressure on the last leg. Otherwise, I mean, if Karo Olsson can run out and just do her own race without feeling the pressure, I don't think. I mean, she has to do a mistake otherwise to lose this relay.
Yes, I'd agree. She winner of the Swedish Sprint Championships. Okay, here's some of the tracking now. This is the lead of Gustav Bergman here on his way to control number 15. 10-second trail here. And I think it's, yeah, about still the same difference between the first and second teams.
One runner doing a great race so far is Martin Hutman for the second Swiss team. He caught 25 seconds. He's now on position 9.
Okay, this is the view from the steps from the arena out into one of the streets. There's a control on the right-hand side somewhere in amongst the tourists. And we're waiting for our leaders towards the end of the 3rd leg. Here we go. Here's Gustav Bergman still in the leading team. The Swede now, all he has to do is cross these tram tracks where the traffic's been stopped for us, and he's going to take this last control, and he will be put in a very, very good position. He will give Caroline Olsson a great, great start as she has the final leg for Sweden. Where is the gap? Where is the next runners? There is Daniel Hubman just emerging from the buildings. Here he is. He too will cross the tram tracks, run all the way to the finish, but Gustav Bergman has done his job for a 3rd time this long weekend in this World Cup, handing over to Caroline Olsson, who will try and bring the Swedes home with a gold medal. That is her task. Here's the 2nd place team. It's the first Swiss team, Daniel Hubman here. Let's have a look at what the gap is. He will hand over to Eleanor Ross. He's fighting all the way to the line to give Ross the best chance. It's 26 seconds. Overall, he has dropped 1 more second if we compare Daniel Hubman to Gustav Bergman in that group. But here is Wojtek Kral, who's had a fantastic race on 3rd leg for the Czech team. He's going to hand over to Teresa Janosakova on the 3rd leg, and he's caught up a good few places there with his run. Sweden too are in 4th place. Martin Legborn handing over to Sarah Hagström. Switzerland 4 there. Pascal Buch handing over to Lisa Höller. And those are the top 5 teams at the moment. Natalia Gempeler there is waiting on the line. She will go out in 7th. The Norwegian team are also up there. Ingeborg Ada will go out on their final leg. Here is the top Finnish team, Finland 4, overtaking Finland 2. So Jesse Lakarinen is going to hand over to Jenny Patana. There, they are the top Finnish team at the moment. Have the Finns got their seeding all wrong, their team selection? Switzerland 2 and 3 are all through. So too Norway 2, and there's the top Finnish team. That is Venla Harju going to go out on on fourth leg. And Lilian Fultgren there. She takes over from Jørn Runesson. So these are the standings. 26-second lead for the Swedes. Another 20 seconds back to the 3rd place Czech Republic. Those are the current nations in with a chance of the medal positions. But here is our leader, Sweden here, and Caroline Olsen at control number 2. Looking very, very strong still at this, already at this part of the course.
No hesitating at all.
So we're waiting here for the 2nd place team. It should be Switzerland 2. We're at control number 2.
The gap was 26 seconds, but I don't see anyone coming here. There she is, Elena Roos. And together now with the Czech team. So she lost 23 seconds here in the beginning. She must have done a mistake.
I think she took the wrong route choice. She went out and back on like a hairpin bend in order to go into control number 2. As we saw her approach from directly on, she came through a different part of the fence compared to the rest of them.
I have to say, when I looked at the map, there is actually one of the red lines from one control to the others, and it looks a little bit like it's blocked because they forgot to open this direct line between the controls. But no one else had that problem before, so it shouldn't be a problem actually.
But now that means the Czech Jana Sikova, and they're going to put some pressure on Elena Ross there, who will know she's lost some time just on that first 2 controls. That will be good feedback for the Czechs. But here again, the leaders here. So 49-second lead at control number 2.
Yeah, that's a massive lead. I don't know how that could happen, that she will lose it. I mean, she's a very good sprint orienteer. Of course, if you choose the wrong route, you can lose some time. There's what I described on the right side of control 5, where Sweden is now. They didn't really cut the line on the right place, so when you're running fast, it looks as if it's blocked there. Maybe that Elena Roos made a mistake because of that, but at the same time, if she thinks it's blocked there, then she should go more to the left and take the stairs into control 5 and run around there. So it's kind of an excuse, but not in the whole, not to do the whole way there. And here we have her, Elena Roos, 43 seconds now.
So she's caught back up a little bit of time and got a 4-second gap on the Czech Republic team. Sweden 2 and Norway both in 4th. So Sara Hagström running for Sweden 2 and Ingeborg Ada on the last leg for Norway. Finland 4 still the top home nation team. Julia Jakob here on last leg for Switzerland 2. We've also got Maja Sienoja there for Finland 1. Natalia Gempeler in 10th spot there for Russia. second place at the middle distance race on Saturday. But Caroline Olsen will know that she headed out into the field, into her course with a good position, and just needs to keep it steady here.
And there where she is now, you get quite a good overview. I mean, everyone has to get into this control. It's from the same side, so she can see that there's actually no one coming. Quite a good situation if you're in the lead like that.
And she'll also get some awareness of how it's going when she goes through the arena as well.
Of course.
Now it looks like from the tracking that they are having a little gap. So Caroline Olsen on the final leg for Sweden. Most of her race is now done. She just needs to keep it together for the last part. This last section, she'll go through the arena and up the stairs, and then a shorter loop then on the second part of the course after 2 kilometers of running.
So let's focus on the fight for the second place. You have Team Switzerland 43 seconds behind, Czech Republic 47 seconds behind, Norway 57 seconds behind, and Sweden 57 seconds behind. I think we will have those 4 teams fighting for this second place.
Here's Elena Roos. She is in the second place now. The gap 42 seconds. So running about the same pace as Caroline Olsen. And more importantly, there is the third and fourth place teams.
We see that the Czech Republic is doing a small mistake there. Losing some seconds compared to Ingeborg Eide from Norway. Now on 3rd position.
Sweden 2's in 5th. Sara Hagström, and Switzerland 4 in 6th. Lisa Höller on the last leg for Switzerland 4. So Norway currently in that 3rd spot, but as we said, there's those 4 teams around there, and anything could happen on this last loop. Here's the leader though, Caroline Olsen at control number 10. The gap was 42 seconds. Gonna look out for the Swiss runner, Roos, next to the control. And the control is just behind the cars. You can see her in the white headband there, making her way to that control. Let's have a look at the gap.
Yeah, especially the gap back to the Norwegian team. Gap is 42 compared to Sweden.
So
and the gap compared to Norway was 16 seconds between Switzerland and Norway. Seems that it's the Czech Republic again. Where is Ingeborg Eide? Oh, there she is.
So this is the battle for 3rd. Well, Sara Hagström there, Sweden 2. So you can see them taking the different routes there around to this control. Jenny Patana for Finland 4, 1 minute 19 seconds behind. And then another group here with Maja Sienoja on the last leg for the first Finnish team. We've also got Julia Jakob here. We've got Selina Jense and Natalia Gempele, number 6 for Russia. Venlahayu there, Finland 2, getting close to 2 minutes behind the leaders, Sweden. And Caroline Olsen on the last leg for Sweden only got a few more controls now.
So we see, I think it's quite clear, we have Sweden as the winners and Switzerland in second position, but behind that there will be a big fight for the third position between the second Swedish team, Norway, and the Czech Republic.
And at this point, all those teams will be kind of looking around each other and really building up for the final part of the course and seeing what they can do.
Especially for this situation, it's a quite nice finish because you can choose differently. Of course, there's no big difference in time, but it feels good that there's a possibility to try something. And I mean, if it's just 1 or 2 seconds difference, it can make the difference in the end as well.
It can. So these are the routes through these little alleyways in the courtyards, in all the houses.
We see that all 3 teams chose the same route.
So we're looking out. This is the view towards control number 15, the second to last control. We should see, there she is. There's Caroline Olsen just punching this penultimate control with a clear lead for the Swedes.
Yeah, that was a good race of all 4 of them. Of course, it's nice if you have a door opener, as Tove Alexandersson, she made the gap 40 seconds. After that, it was more or less just working down with the gap you have and run good races. And they did that, I mean, 25 seconds ahead on the second, 26 on the third, and might be even a little bit more now after Caroline Olsen. So very clear victory and no problems whatsoever on the whole relay.
Yeah, I think all 4 of the team ran exceptionally well, put together a great team performance. And yeah, from the tracking, it doesn't seem like any of them put a foot wrong. They all looked fantastic through the controls, and we could see them running really smoothly. And Eleanor Ross there can go into a very secure second place for Switzerland.
I mean, we had a good race by the Swiss as well. We have seen, I think, a small mistake by Simona Aebersold in the beginning. She had quite a big gap suddenly at like the second TV control, and we have also seen a small mistake of Eleanor Roos on the last leg in the first forking. But otherwise, good races, and a very good finish here by Sara Hagström for the Swedish team.
Yep, Sweden too, taking third place. But it is Terezia Nisikova for the Czech Republic. They will be the third nation. They're in the bronze medal team. Fantastic to get away there from the Norwegians, who also had a great run. There we go. That is Ingeborg Eider into 5th place, the 4th nation. There's a sprint finish on though here. And can Natalia Gempler takes the next spot. Great run from Switzerland 4, and then the 2 Finnish teams. Finland 4 beating Finland 1 by only 2 seconds, with Jenny Patana on the last leg for Finland 4. Switzerland 2 are also there, and Switzerland 3. So that's all 4 Swiss teams home now.
And we had actually Finland 1, Maija Sianoja had the fastest time on this leg. 11 seconds faster than Sarina Jense, who was the second fastest time.
Eleanor Roos actually on the last part of the course pulled up 11 seconds compared to Caroline Olsen. So
yeah,
she had
but I mean, Caroline Olsen, she knew that she's in the lead. She had nothing to risk. She was celebrating halfway into the finish, so it's a bit hard to compare those 2 runners.
It is. It is. Russia 2 also finishing there. British team finished 2 minutes behind the lead for Sweden.
Megan Carter-Davies was the fastest on this leg so far. She was, let's see, she was 3 seconds faster than Maija Sianoja.
Great running there for the Brits.
Or for one of the Brits at least.
We also have the Danish team finishing there. Of course, not as strong without Maya Alm, who's focusing on athletics at the moment, aiming for the Olympics in Tokyo. But let's have a quick wrap up of the results. Sweden taking that win, Switzerland second, 31 seconds behind. Sweden too, Sarah Hagstrom really pulling up a few places at the very, very end of the course. Fantastic running from her. But the third nation are the Czech Republic, with Teresa Janasikova on the last leg. So Sweden winning the battle between Sweden and Switzerland in the end.
Yeah, not totally unexpected. I mean, if you can send out Tove Alexandersson on the first leg, then you have quite a safe card to play out. If you have a big gap, as it was today, it's quite convenient for the men to go out. And I mean, they're very good sprint orienteers, both Gustav Bergman and Emil Svensk. So it was a clear lead in the end.
It was indeed, and we will be back with the next World Cup round. It is the World Championships in Norway.